and welcome back to the best show that drops here on Tuesdays. And that show is, ladies and gentlemen, favorite. Ooh, got a fast one in today. I like it. And today's episode of either, let's catch you up. If you haven't watched here a lot, we like to talk about collections, directors, actors, any kind of movie, and we talk about our favorites. And I am so excited today, as I am almost every week, but this is going to be a good week, you guys. You know why it's a good week?
You know, one day he's going to come in not excited. We're not going to know what to do.
But,
cheer.
But you can never go wrong if you're right. And oh boy, is today the right episode.
How far do you think I can stab this through my eye?
To talk about Edgar Wright. Y'all catch that joke?
That was as disappointing as Ant-Man.
I can hear our audience laughing through the back through the speakers. It's reverberating. That's how it works.
You can say reverberating, but not subsidiary.
It's a little bit easier to pronounce.
Subsidiary or whatever he
subsidiary. It's listen.
Subsidiary?
That's what he said.
Subsidiary.
Long words.
Have you been listening to this joke? Yeah. He can't say subsidiary.
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 You said reverberate.
I said it. Are you happy?
Now can you spell it?
No.
You were saying?
I was saying we're doing Edgar Wright today, baby, and there's so many.
You got the right stuff. That would have been better.
Oh, that would have been good.
Yeah, too bad you missed your chance. Anyway,
but now we're going to get into our favorite Edgar Wright movies, and he's actually got a pretty decent catalog, right? He's got 8, 9 movies.
I would say that the only one that could be considered
6.
Six? Only 6?
7 with Sparks.
7.
Right? 8. Fistful of Fingers, the one that no one can watch.
There you go.
As his first, but then you have the trilogy,
and
then Baby Driver, Last Night Saw Scott Pilgrim, and then the documentary.
Okay.
So 7 if you don't count that first movie.
All right, and with those 7, we picked 3, obviously, because there's 3 of us. Who can count? I can. But
that's that Grand Valley education.
Yes, it is. But Jay, let's
a subsidiary.
But let's get right into this. Jay, I wonder what your favorite Edgar Wright pick is.
Gee.
If anybody has, really quick, if you haven't watched our World Series, That Works, you should check it out. Because in the beginning of every episode, we learn that Jake's favorite movie is...
What? Wait, hold on.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Our That Works series. Remember DreamWorks?
Oh.
And Jared...
I remember now.
And in Jared's intro, what is Jake?
What fan fiction do you write?
Naruto.
Shapoopy.
Roll.
That girl was hard to get.
Well, I was going a very different way.
What were you doing?
I was out there doing the Shibuya roll call.
No, I was singing the Music Man.
Oh. Anyway, Jake, your favorite Edgar Wright movie.
I think I'm saved from all my other comments.
Arrogance, Fire, California, and Fender. Fedgar, I'll say. Go, Jake. He's not going to stop.
I'm not going to stop. He's just going to cut me off.
My favorite movie is a classic. Celebrating its 10th year anniversary. Re-release in, was it Dolby Digital?
Ooh.
They remastered it. It is what I think is the most mismarketed movie basically ever.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Facts. Yes.
That has Lana in it. Just as a side note.
But Jake, you said facts. Facts.
No one knew what that movie was, and they all hated it because of it.
Yep.
But it is literally the best movie ever.
It's pretty.
Dragon Ball Evolution?
Yeah!
I didn't know Edgar Wright directed a Dragon Ball movie.
It
Dragon Ball. Super Saiyan. Hey, say it.
I don't know.
Say it. Super Saiyan. I like Goku.
This is really getting off the rails.
Go, Jake.
You like Noku.
Boo!
Okay, Dickey, what's your favorite? Jake, what is it?
We're cutting off Jake. He's made one too many Dickey jokes.
Yep.
What is your favorite? Spit it out.
My favorite is the one, the only. We are Sex Bomb, and we are here to kick your teeth in.
Woo! Thanks. Anyway, Jared, what's your favorite?
It's got Pilgrim versus the World.
Do explain. It's such a good movie. It's
You don't even know.
Get into it, buddy.
It's got your Michael Cera's. It's got your Mary Elizabeth Winsteads. It's got your
Kieran Culkin, Whitman,
May
Aubrey Plaza, and Anna Kendrick, and Jason Schwartzman, and Chris Evans, and Brandon. Is it Ralph or Ruth? Ruth. And Brie Larson.
It's got the cast in this is insane.
It is the best movie from Canada you will ever see.
That's not a movie from Canada, but okay.
Like what?
You didn't know that they took place in Canada?
Well, I know that were like that took place that were filmed.
It was definitely filmed there. Dude, they're at Castlevania.
Yeah.
They're filming in Canada there.
Well,
Is that vampire Nintendo game?
That's Castlevania.
I know things.
From the opening scene and the stylized drawing on the film to the room when they start playing, opening up behind that, not like opening up, but like, how would you put that?
Exploding behind them.
Expanding behind them with the beat of the music to just like every bit of camera trickery that they do. It is the most unique comic book movie you will ever see, and it is the best representation of its source material that it could be. Like, they have done side-by-side trailer comparisons where Edgar Wright literally recreated the frames.
That's awesome.
From Brian Lee O'Malley's books.
I didn't know that. I've never read the original book, so that's cool that he
They're fun. It's very easy fun read.
It's also very different than the movie.
Yeah.
That's another thing I appreciate about the movie is it very much tries to be its own thing while at the same time being Scott Pilgrim.
So it sounds like he adapted it really well.
Yes. What else was I going to say? Brian Lee O'Malley was a heavy consultant on what was going on in the movie to the point where any of the artwork you see just kind of lying around the room is drawn by him.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh, that's really cool. He actually got the creator himself to just...
It's got Brie Larson in it, too.
I said that.
You did? I didn't hear that one.
That's what I was saying.
That's the last one I said.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, after listening off that
listening to you.
After listening off that whole
during her
cast,
singing career. Not kidding.
I did not know that.
She started her singing career at like 16 or 17.
Really?
What?
He said it wasn't that great.
Wow, he must be the hair. They had to have Metric sing for her on the soundtrack. Which is funny because
I was going to make a joke about, is that the game with Samus, but we're going to keep moving.
Oh my god, it's never ending.
I remember I watched this movie for the first time at your apartment with you. I was kind of blown away. Wow, this is really fun. I can see why 10 years ago a friend of mine was like, you need to watch this, because he had watched it 7 times in one day.
Wow,
How
that's
many times
impressive.
have you seen it in theaters, Jake?
6.
Sick. Dang, that's impressive. I only saw this once in theaters, but I remember walking out of it. Jake, I felt the same exact thing you did. They didn't know how to market this movie. Because it was so good. It was so unique. But that is not the movie that I was expecting whatsoever. And that's why I made no money.
Especially since you put Michael Cera in the foreground. Like, I understand that he has to be because he's the main character, but that is a very different role to what he plays.
He's still a little more like, he's still a little dweeby and unconfident. Like, he plays sometimes, he only plays a decent amount. Like that, at least I can think Arrested Development is kind of similar to that.
Yeah, but he's not really snappy like Scott is.
He's not. Yeah.
And Kieran Culkin is one of the highlights of this movie Wallace Wells.
He's
Wallace is funnier in the book,
so good.
He's definitely got a different. He's got a different tone to him.
But they nailed the character. Also, he has the best line delivery. Fine.
Yeah, that's such a good.
What do I do?
And like everything, like everything with the slow mo like that, like it's so good. Like that's how you do slow mo, not this Zack Snyder like speed ramping crap.
And all the tiny little like after effect things that you can hardly notice unless you're like actually paying attention. Like you got the big ones like the beginning and like the one up and the heart and the all that stuff, but all the little like pow boom thing, like the lines, just just so well choreographed. It's the music is fantastic. Like the pacing is. I'm not going to say perfect because it's not perfect, but it is.
It's pretty. It's pretty spot on.
I lied too. The fight is the second best line reading because the best is in that same scene of Mr. Pilgrim. That's the best.
I love that we got Chris Evans in this too, playing a superpowered vegan. Like, what is happening?
Wrong.
No.
That's Brandon.
You're wrong.
Oh, that's Brandon Rose that played the vegan.
He's the bass player.
That's right.
You should know it's on that.
I should remember.
He is the best character.
Who does the skateboarding.
Yes. He has skateboarding.
And all his stunt doubles are beating up Scott in the background.
That was, oh my god. That was back like before any of the Marvel stuff, right? So he was still
technically
like,
no.
So it's 2 years after.
Really?
2008, right?
Yes, but Chris Evans wasn't in the MCU, but he had been on the Marvel property technically.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. He was.
That's why it was hard to get used to his captain. Like, I'm still seeing Human Torch.
Still
like, really? I go, give it time. I'm just saying, like 1 or 2 movies in, I'm still getting Human Torch.
He's just so good at playing those like douchebag characters.
I think one of my favorite lines in the movie is, next thing you're going to do is you're going to hang up this phone. You're going to hear 2 clicks. The first is me hanging up the phone. The next is me pulling the trigger.
It's so cheesy, but in the best way possible.
And it's so beautifully mixes practical effects in its fights and the little flares and touches. Like, so like, that first dream sequence with Ramona, when he goes into the bathroom, dries his hands, and walks out into like a school hallway with the lockers and stuff, that's practical. They physically moved the set in the amount of time that it took him to wash his hands.
Which I think that's, when it comes down to stuff just like that, I think that is them using a really small budget and just working it. Just knowing where to put their money, which is what I just think is so impressive.
Well, I don't think it was a money choice. I think it was a what does this look like choice.
That's true. And it probably, I just wonder because like obviously VFX are expensive, and I think just pushing 2 sets is a little cheaper than that, which is why I thought it might be a money thing. But I mean, who knows?
I don't think it was a money thing. I think it was this suits the style of the book that we're trying to emulate.
Which you said the biggest, I would say, disappointing thing they leave out is Knives' dad. From the books. And it makes sense why he's not, because there's just
that whole 4th book is just not in there. And it's okay. I mean, it's my favorite book of the series, but it's okay. Like, I get why it's not there. And you've seen it. Spoilers for all of you. I don't know how I would have felt had he gone off with knives at the end.
That would have been interesting.
Because they filmed both, right?
It. Yeah, they did both.
But I think isn't the whole point of the movie, like, if he goes off with knives, that kind of defeats the purpose because Knives deserves better than him. Isn't that the point they're trying to make? It's like, he's not a good person.
Mm-hmm.
He's much worse in the book. Much worse.
So I have to ask really quick. Is this an adaptation of the whole series or just
so
a couple?
It's an interesting story. Yes, it's an adaptation of the whole series, but the movie dropped before, at the same time the 6th book dropped.
The last book.
That's the last book?
Yes.
Okay.
So the 6th book and the movie are incredibly different.
Interesting.
Wouldn't you agree?
But they both work really well on their own, which is what you want in a movie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Jason's fortunately. When he comes up, they're playing Under My Thumb. And the music is so perfectly toned.
It is. Absolutely.
And it reawakened in me in 2010 my desire for that bass.
Nice. I love it. All right. Anything else before we move on to the next movie?
Oh,
All right. Jared.
yes.
There's a lot to pick from. What is your favorite?
An interesting, probably one of the less popular ones to pick as a favorite. I like The World's End the best.
That is so interesting. That's not a very popular.
I would not call it his best movie. It's a lot of people say it's the weakest of the Cornetto trilogy, but I had the most fun with it. Shaun of the Dead is close to it for me. This one just there's a certain point in the movie where the switch flips. And it's the bathroom fight. Because the first 40 minutes or so, I remember thinking yeah, I can kind of see why this isn't as popular as the other two. And then that bathroom fight, I'm okay, that was really fun. And then the movie just gets crazy. And spoiler alert, they're given a chance to save the world and they blow it. And they create a dystopia, basically. Or an apocalyptic, not dystopia, apocalyptic future. And it's hilarious. Because Simon Pegg's character gets to do exactly what he wants. He's fighting with I can't remember what those guys are. They're like robots, aren't they?
They're like aliens, but robots.
Yeah, but he gets to travel around fighting with them. And that last shot of just him with the sword.
I'm not gonna lie, I've seen this movie before. It has been so long, I don't remember that.
It's the best of the Cornetto trilogy for sure.
You really think it is?
Oh yeah.
Wow, I need to give this a rewatch. It's been a second since I've seen it.
I just love how he's hooked on the past. Simon Pegg, well, everyone else in their friend group, Nick Frost, Martin Freeman is great in it.
Oh, so
it's they've all moved on, and Simon Pegg's still holding on to it. So his idea is, hey, 20 years ago we did this bar crawl, this legendary one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's redo it and finish it, and tie that into the world the apocalypse is happening. That's such a great thing to put in. It's this thing is already interesting in itself, but then you add the extra layer, which is just crazy. It's fun where they're all we're trying to survive, and he's we gotta finish. We gotta.
You idiot! We gotta survive.
And I like the role reversal where Nick Frost is usually the deadbeat character, and Simon Pegg is kind of the voice of reason, and because the other two movies are like that, and they switch them, and I think it works just as well.
They're both good at playing both roles.
I also think that The World's End is a good marriage of probably the story of Shaun of the Dead and the jokes of Hot Fuzz, because that's what I don't like about Hot Fuzz is I don't like the story of it.
Really?
It's not my thing. Even the humor is just not my thing. But I think it's the perfect in between those two. And it's why it's my favorite of the Cornetto trilogy. And honestly, the more I think about Edgar Wright's catalog as a whole, he has some really well choreographed everything.
Yeah.
Even Last Night in Soho, which is again arguably one of the worst ones of the bunch.
It's still.
Can you imagine the coordination it would have to get some of those mirror shots,
absolutely.
Going down a spiral staircase lined up by the outside of mirrors.
Which is interesting because I remember I said this a couple episodes ago, where I don't remember what director we were talking about. I said I feel like he's a very meticulous. I think it was PTA. I think he's a very meticulous director, and you wouldn't think Edgar Wright, but I think the same way to get shots like you just said. Walking down there and getting that stuff and all the choreographed stuff,
all the
you
stuff
have to
in
have
Baby Driver.
Literally all that stuff. You have to have such a good vision and such a good understanding of how to make that come to life to make it even work. Because these things that he's doing is especially at World's End, when you're
The World's End.
Oh, I thought it was
At World's End
that's
is
the Pirates of the Caribbean.
World's End is
bad.
Yeah, it's not great.
that Judd.
Huh?
One
This Is the End.
Oh, that's another good one. But yeah, no.
It came out like the year before this, so I think people got them mixed up. And people don't like haha dumb British people doing a bar crawl. They like haha stupid celebrity cameo
American
poop joke.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to discredit a movie I've not seen, but that
I
seems
truly
to be what
love
kind
This
of
Is
movie.
the End, but that is the vibe that it goes for. It is the American version of.
I'm not gonna lie. That seems like you seem like the target demographic for that.
Thanks.
I'm not trying to put you down for it. I'm just saying.
It's silly, goofy, Michael Cera, Seth Rogen.
Wow.
That wasn't Evan Goldberg. Like
Evan Goldberg probably. I don't know if he's not actually in it, but
he's like his friend who writes and produces with him.
Yeah, he's got the two mixed up.
Why isn't Superbad? Their names are Seth and Evan in the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, the World's End, I feel like is the American version of that. And it's just, but
The World's End is the British version.
Good
grief.
God,
Hey, you should start talking.
I am.
I already did my talking.
That's all I really have to say about it. It's one of those I'd like to rewatch. The last and only time I watched it was probably 2017 or 18.
Yeah, that's been a while for me too.
At your house.
Was it with me?
You were there. He fell asleep.
Did I really?
About 20 minutes in.
That makes sense.
You fell asleep. I go, Jake, oh, he's out.
Anyway.
Dude. If we're watching a movie at night, you cannot let me lay down.
You didn't lay down. You were sitting on the couch. You were tired, though. You were sitting there like this, talking to me, and then a couple scenes. I think it's the scene where they run into Rosamund Pike. How do you say that? Rosamund Pike for the first time, and I like look over, and you're out. You're just content.
Well, anyway.
You also watched that Pilgrim at my apartment too.
No, that was at your part. This was at your house.
Oh.
Yeah, this was like the first couple months you lived there.
I don't remember.
Probably because you were asleep.
Yep. I think you woke up at the bathroom fight because I was laughing. And you plugged right back into the movie and then fell right back asleep. And I think by the end people, I tend to notice when I watch movies with people, when the movie is ending, I don't know if it's a note in the music or something with going from only sound to just nothing that wakes them up, but they always wake up right at the last scene or right as the credits start. Every time. He woke up right as I remember that because I'm like, of course he wakes up and I'm like,
no, that was a great movie.
And you look over at me and I go, hi. Is the movie over? And yeah. Oh. Okay. It was pretty
So that talks about how exactly how to expect that exchange to go. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that means it gets back to me.
goody.
Wow, I can hear the joy. I can sense the joy.
Happy, joy, joy.
Happy, joy.
Happy.
But
Sing
it's
a happy song.
yeah. But no, I'm excited because we're talking about the Cornetto trilogy. So let's finish it off, baby, or start it off actually. Baby, it's
Driver.
Shaun. Yes, Baby Driver. Shaun of the Dead. I can't even begin to explain to you how much this was my first Edgar Wright movie that I ever saw before Scott Pilgrim, I think. Or no,
I mean,
this wait.
that was his first
This came out
second
before
movie.
Scott Pilgrim, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This was his first big
Yeah.
movie.
It was
It goes-
okay. For some reason, my
Not counting his first one, it goes Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz,
Scott
Scott
Pilgrim,
Pilgrim, World's End, Baby Driver,
Last
Last
Night
Night
Soho,
Soho.
Sparks Brothers.
gotcha.
Actually, I don't know which one comes first because it came out the same year.
Because for a second, my brain was jumbled. I couldn't remember what came out first. But no, everything about this movie just makes me Edgar Wright has. I've seen so many YouTube essays about how good he is at visual comedy, and Shaun of the Dead is really, really just what's cemented. It's just so flippin' funny. And it's so heartfelt, too. A movie about a man surviving zombies is heartfelt and about him really just trying to survive after him and his ex broke up and all just them dealing with that. It's so good. And I have to mention this because this is what started off a couple of the Cornetto. I mean, this started off the Cornetto, like the actual, like them trying to eat their ice cream. Yep. And I know I mentioned before we even started this, the fence jumping gag. I love. It's so stupid. It's so simple. Just jumping over fences. It's so funny. And he just over the fence. Over the fence. Oh, and then Nick Pollock goes through and the smallest falls on his face. It's so funny. I genuinely laughed. So
isn't that Hot Fuzz?
That's Hot Fuzz.
No,
that's the one where he jumps over it, like falls over it.
Yeah, I think that's what you just described.
No, the Hot Fuzz I think doesn't I'm trying to think of when because Simon Pegg does it perfectly in the first one, then Nick Frost tries to do it and then he falls, and as Hot Fuzz doesn't. Simon Pegg tried to do it, but he falls?
No, because Simon Pegg in Hot Fuzz is like the perfect cop.
Right.
Nick Frost tries to like copy what he does. I thought in this one, there's a scene where Sean is like, I'm going to go after him, and like just like tries to hop the fence and just like falls over.
Yeah. Or didn't he like try to jump over a hedge or something?
Something.
Maybe I'm mixing it up. But
you are. It's understandable. They're fairly similar.
They are fairly similar. Yeah, that's why I like it. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a moderate Queen fan, but when that scene comes on at the bar, it gives me feeling some kind of way. Because we're having a good time, shooting star burning through the sky, and he's just slashing down all the zombies, shooting them.
Just hitting the one.
Pure, what's that?
There's like one or two in the middle of their circle.
It's just pure serotonin. I can't think of anything that makes me happier than that scene, honestly. It's just, chef's kiss.
And what a stupid plan.
Oh, I know!
Pub.
Let's go to the pub.
And the way he explains his plan, it's just so funny, the way they edit it, it just ends with...
I was like, yup!
And it's like, we'll do this, and then we'll pick up that, and then we'll do that, and then we'll hide out the pub. This is a terrible idea. And everyone dies, but him and his girlfriend, right? Yeah. But I mean, his friend becomes a zombie that he chains up to play video games. But if I recall, he gets just about everyone killed. Yeah, it really is. Like it's rough. Like when you everyone's keep dying off, and when Nick Frost died, I was like, oh my god. The skulky guy that's with him who hates him. I forgot his name. Was it Peter or something? Or is that there? Or is it David? I can't remember his name. Not the roommate. The guy who's with him, and they rip his guts out in that one part. Like it's funny, but it's still a zombie movie. Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why I love it. I know Jake was mentioning how well they used effects in Scott Pilgrim. I think they nailed it again with using a perfect mixture of practical and CGI, where I couldn't legit not tell the difference at all.
I think in my head, this is kind of in the start of that zombie comedy.
It genre. Probably did start this. I don't. What year did this come out again?
It's the first one. It's the first one that I can remember.
I'll bet you you're right. I'll bet you this is the one that was like, hey, we can make zombie movies that are funny. Let's do that. They throw in the vinyl record and they say, Batman soundtrack, throw it. Yeah. Or something. There's one joke I don't like, and that's when they say Dire Straits and he does the throw it. And I go, oh, what's the joke? Dire Straits is great, better than Prince. Sorry, that upset me because I forgot about it and watched it back in October again. Mm-hmm. I was laughing, and they're throwing it, and they're like, Dire Straits, throw it. Hey! It's like, wait a second, that's a good one! I do. Edgar Wright. You have something against Dire Straits? We need to have a little talk? I think maybe he must do. I genuinely believe this is how I would stumble across the zombie apocalypse, is in the beginning where everything is happening on in the background and Simon Pegg is so oblivious and clueless to everything going on. And I'm just like, you know what? Honestly, this is probably one of the most real... There's blood all over the convenience store, and he walks right past it. Yeah! And he's just, ugh. And I was like,
Because isn't he's grabbing a Coke and a Cornetto, right?
Yeah, that's what he's getting.
And then he says something to the guy who's not there, or if he is, he's like zombified or whatever.
Yeah, he just casually drops the money on the counter and just walks back out. Like I said, legitimately, that is how I would actually stumble into the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, some say this is his best movie. I don't think it is, but I can see why.
This is probably the one that I rewatch the most, but it's also because I love horror movies, and this is essentially his not so serious take on horror movies, where I feel like Last Night in Soho was a more serious take on horror movies, and that's why I got a little iffy, because I don't know, I feel like Edgar Wright can't do serious.
Fully serious.
He's just, which, I mean...
It's a whole nother conversation.
It is, but I mean, I think his style works best for just comedies and that kind of, like, quippy kind of stuff.
That scene where their group runs into the identical group, which is Martin Freeman.
Yeah, I did have Martin Freeman in it!
Because that's the girl that bails them out at the end, right? She brings the military.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
They said, well, we're going this way. They're, okay, we're going here. And they're like, okay. That's stupid.
It's so good. Just talking about it now makes me really, really want to go back and rewatch it. Just getting back in that spooky mood, baby. But that's all I got for this.
That's all I got.
Yeah, it's just truly, honestly, this really makes me want to go back and just watch more Edgar Wright stuff. It really does. But anyway, thank you all for listening to us babble on about Edgar Wright movies. Jared, if they want to watch us talking, or just any highlights. We're talking much. I'm running very rough. But
well, Edgar Wright, he's made some funny movies.
They weren't wrong.
He's trying to change the style up, but if you want to hold on to some stuff that's funny, you can go to our TikTok.
Did Edgar Wright handpick his jokes though?
God.
Yes.
That's getting brought back too, isn't it? Oh, great. I created another running gag.
Is funny.
Yay.
You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen to us on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. And hey, watch, like, subscribe, and ring our bell here on YouTube if you are watching.
Absolutely. Don't forget to leave comments and reviews about if you like our stuff and what else you'd like us to talk about. So, from all of us here at All Slate Media, thank you so much for listening and watching along. Stay tuned for more awesome content we got coming up every week. So, thank you once again for watching. We will see you later.
Bye.